So what's your material based on these days? Like world events, what's going on in the world and stuff, or just general
I talk
life?
I talk about so many different subjects. I'm talking about the world that we're living in. I talk a lot about technology. I talk a lot about social media. I talk about the downfalls and pitfalls of being stuck on Facebook and our cell phones and on Instagram. Right. I talk about pornography. I talk about childhood. I talk about relationships. I do a lot of crowd work now, where I really have been going into the crowd and pulling people out of the crowd, as far as talking to them and pulling comedy out of them. So it was very spontaneous, and I try to keep it. I try to keep the show moving and spontaneous as much as possible, so that it just doesn't feel like I'm up there just doing the same jokes over and over again. But I do definitely try to make some real strong points with my show. I do feel strongly about some of the things that I see that are happening in the world that are a lot different than they were 20 years ago, with our addiction to technology and social media, and how we've given up our privacy, things like this. So I do want people to walk away from the show and actually think about the way we're living our lives, and maybe make changes to the way we're living our lives. Maybe not be text messaging at the dinner table while they're with friends. Maybe remembering what it was like when we were kids, and you would
actual conversations.
Yeah, you have conversations, or you'd go outside and nobody knew where you were for an entire day, and you could actually be by yourself and be alone with the world, and not be constantly interrupted by every single person who wants to get a hold of you all the time.
The other night I was standing on the front porch, and the thought just occurred to me. It was just like going, every thought we have to share now. It's like, I did the laundry today.
Yeah.
So with your job and again with radio these days, it's not just, hey, you're caller 9. We have to be on Facebook. We have to be Twitter. We have to be interactive with everybody. It's part of our job, and with your career going on, everything you're doing with the television show, do you just want to unplug and just be done with it for like a month? Could you?
Oh, yeah, I do. I do that regularly throughout my life, throughout the year. I'll find weeks where I'll just disappear. I'll not use my Twitter. I'll go to, somewhere quiet in the world and just sit and write and think and eat food and sleep a lot and try to get off the grid. Yeah, no, it really has changed everything. It's changed radio. It's probably, we're filming here today, right?
Exactly.
So radio is in the past has been sort of a strictly audio medium, right?
Exactly.
Theater of the mind. Now I'm kind of worried about which way I'm looking, and I got this GoPro Hero in my face, and I know it's going to be on YouTube, and I know that everything I say will be on YouTube, and then people will be able to write little comments on YouTube underneath what I say.
Yes.
So it's like, I better not say anything that people aren't going to like, because then they're going to say that I'm stupid. So it's like it wasn't like that before. You could just go on and wing it, and I don't let it affect me because I'm too much, because I'm used to it, but it does affect you. Even with stand-up comedy, people pull out their cell phone and start filming during the show, and you think, I'd better not say this or this joke right now, because taken out of context, I could probably get my green card taken away from me. I could probably get kicked out of the country if I say the wrong thing and someone's filming it at the wrong time. And I try to I try to kind of police that at my shows. I don't really like people filming at my shows.
Well, okay, yeah. So
if someone starts filming at my show, I tend to go after them and ask them to not film. And it's just because I don't think people understand the context of how things can be taken out of context in stand-up. And I think in some ways it's kind of ruining stand-up as far as what it used to be, where you would go into this room and listen to someone speak his mind or her mind and just rant about the absurdities of the world and not really give about what they're saying.
Right.
And now, when those phones come out, I think people, have to be a little more careful about what they say. That's why I make sure there's no phones filming during my show.
Do you have a sign at the door? So like
no, I can see everybody,
Well, yeah.
I can see everyone.
Okay, so listen, no filming at Tom Green Show this weekend at Zany's.
Yeah, we'll film after the show. I go and talk to everyone after the show. I'll take pictures with everyone after the show. But I kind of have more fun, and the show is a lot more outrageous and crazy if it's not broadcast on YouTube.
Yeah, it gives a little bit more. People can, they don't know what to expect. They can go with fresh minds and not already have seen the same joke over and over.
I just don't like. It's not even that I'm really that worried about what I say, because everything I say I'll stand behind. It's also just like I don't like seeing people distracted. When you're hanging out with someone and they're texting.
Yeah.
Like I don't even like when people are texting in my show. If someone is texting during my show, what you see is usually some 18-year-old girl, not to be sexist or ageist or whatever, but it's always an 18-year-old girl texting at the table, and I'm sitting there, I'm saying, like, I'm working on some very, I'm in the middle of telling some very carefully crafted jokes here, very finely tuned comedy material, and you're sitting there making plans for what nightclub you're going to go to after the show, and it's offensive to me. I'm traveling around the country telling some finely tuned comedy jokes.
I worked 5 minutes on this backstage. Listen to my joke.
Yeah, and you're sitting there chatting it up with your girlfriend. So, look at me. Look at me when I'm telling my comedy jokes.
Do you know who Tommy Emmanuel is? Guitarist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw him at TPAC a couple of years ago, and that happened right there in the show. I mean, he was just into it. He was jamming. He was going, and then finally, you see, walk up to the stage, and he just looks at somebody. He just goes, "Get off the phone!" And I was like, "Wow, you just got called out by Tommy Emmanuel."
Yeah.
There's
you're doing a performance. You're doing a performance.
So technology has ruined us.
Yeah,
it's made us rude, narcissistic.
I think it's
brought out the narcissism that was buried deep down in all of us.
I think it's going to cause much deeper and bigger, more permeating problems in our culture and in our species, in the human species, than we can imagine. So many people now are meeting each other online and finding their mate, their lifelong partner, the people that they reproduce and have kids with because they met on Tinder, or they met on Facebook, or they met on Match.com. And there's so much about what attracts us to people is our smell, right?
Yeah,
pheromones.
Yeah,
you don't know why you like someone half the time. You got that instant connection. You don't even know what it is. Well, there's none of that online. So people are picking, their partners and dating based on things that are completely unnatural through a computer.
New idea for an app. Scratch and sniff.
Scratch and sniff.
Smell my pheromones
Smell
online.
my finger.
Nice. Tom Green, ladies and gentlemen, he's in town, Zanies, this weekend, April 9th through the 12th. And thank you for letting us be part of your television show that you're filming, and I'm glad to finally get the chance to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
It was great to be here. I appreciate it. And come down to the show. Let's have a beer at the show, okay?
Right on.
Thanks, man.
Yep.